I want you to keep talking about this story in WWF. You got there on the down low. Shawn requested you. What was the feeling as you walked in that door?
It was a really kind of a flux time because it was like right at the end of Hulk. Like Hulk was only there maybe 2 months,
right,
longer. So it was kind of the whole, the changing of the guard. Mostly the old school guys were gone, and it was a pretty young crew of guys. And you know how it was. I mean, the business was down, but it come from WCW. A good house was, if we had 1,500 people in Jacksonville, that was a great house. And the first night I went to the WWF, it was in Albany, New York, and I walked in there, and a couple of guys, I think it was Mike Rotunda and DiBiase, were looking out the curtain, and they walked away when they just kind of shook their heads like fucking the shits. And I walked up there and looked through the curtain. There was more people than I'd ever seen. It was like, holy shit, there was probably 4,000 people. And, it was just the difference between, the WWF and WCW. It was just, to me, that was, back then it was the show. I mean, it is now again, but for a while, WCW, came around, but
back in, if you wanted to be in the big leagues, you went to WWF, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, when you got there, was it a warm reception? Was it just kind of one of those things, let's see what this motherfucker's going to do? You probably knew some of the guys. How was your reception? Were you welcomed?
The thing is, the minute I walked in, and I had known Scott from WCW too, so I walked in, I met Shawn for the first time. And it was funny because Shawn, I was sitting down and Shawn walked up and I stood up, and Shawn was a lot bigger than I thought he would be. Like Shawn's I didn't realize Shawn was like 6'1".
Yeah, he's pretty jacked up back then too.
Yeah, he's in real good shape, and I saw Scott, and so we did a deal that night. And, the thing was, I wasn't really a wrestler. I was a bodyguard, so I was almost treated by the boys as like a manager. Like I wasn't a threat because I wasn't.
Right, good call.
So it was a good slide in for me. It was and I got to sit every night. And after Marty and him had a short run, and then he went right when he had the IC strap, immediately because Razor Ramon, Scott Hall, was red hot, coming up as a babyface. They put those two together going towards WrestleMania 10, and they were having some great matches, 20 minutes every night, and I got to sit on the apron, basically at ringside, and watch these guys not only do the craft, but we traveled together, so we were in the car, we were talking business. But basically, it was just talking business 24/7.
Well, check it out. You're watching these guys up close in the ring, seeing what they're doing. You're riding down the road, talking psychology and about wrestling. When you saw Shawn Michaels, first of all, when you met him, was it what you expected? Because you guys hadn't met before, but nonetheless, he's requested your presence.
The first thing is, even though I've seen him on TV, is like when you meet Shawn, like when he speaks to you, it's like you don't think that, hi, I'm Shawn, like that. You don't think that voice is going to come out of him. So it was just like, and then we shook hands, and because he requested me, because he got me out of the shithole. I mean, I felt like, almost like Django. I felt like I was, I owed him.
Right. Right.
He gave me my freedom. So, it was, but we immediately got along, and the thing was, the bigger guys weren't selling for him. So they would sell for me, so I'd do one thing, and they'd go outside, I'd crack him with a shot, roll him back in, and then Shawn could go to work on him, but they were having a hard time selling for Shawn. It was just a different era. Guys didn't sell for anybody anyway.
Because, you're still kind of transitioning from the big guy world into, the size guys that Shawn, Brett, and the other cats were.
Right. And the thing was, like, when we would sit in the car and they would talk, I said, because of course, Shawn knew we'd be having tag matches down the line. He says, you can do two things. He said, you can work like Warlord and those guys and not go off your feet. He said, you can fucking take your size and fucking and use it and be athletic and bump and fucking and learn to work. He says, because the style's changing. He said that broken shit ain't cutting it no more. So, when we just kind of, that was kind of the, for no other term, the kind of clicks way it worked. And so But the minute I walked in the locker room, as soon as I got in the car with Scott and Shawn, they were just like, "Oh, by the way, nobody likes us." I was like, "Fuck."
Nobody likes you.